Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to talk about Fidelity's share learning program. I put out a post the other day on YouTube saying, hey, my XDTE shares are now on loan, making 28%. Wow, that's actually higher than the distribution rate, but okay, that's what they're giving me for loaning this. And there was a lot of comments, and we're going to start trying to address some of these comments and figure out, hey, is this right for you? I know it's right for me. There are a lot of pros and cons in this game, and I'm just going to give you my opinion, and you can make the decision for yourself. First of all, what is the share loaning program? The share loaning program is a lot of time for short sellers to cover the shorts, where Fidelity is going to loan your shares to somebody else to cover the shorts. And that's a little bit scary because people are like, well, you could lose your shares because it's no longer SIPC insured. Well, guess what? I don't want to give you the percentage of my account not insured by SIPC, but let's just say that's a drop in the bucket. If my broker goes under, SBIC is going to make me go back to work because they're going to only insure $250,000 from my understanding of securities and $250,000 of cash. That's just a fraction. Another thing that Fidelity's doing is actually putting the money into my account and sitting there as a collateralized loan. I actually see it, my account balance doesn't go down, and they're backing it 100%. So I'm a little confused on that, why people would be scared of SIPC covering their account, because it's only a fraction for me. The next one, and this is a big consideration, because the distributions are going to be cash in lieu of. So you lose all that tax shelter by having cash in lieu of. So that might not be for somebody that has a taxable account, because now you're going to receive cash instead of ROC. You're going to have to pay taxes on it. So there's a little more risk to that. You also lose voting rights. Let's face it, how many people actually vote on their shares? I do every now and then, but not very often. Enrollment, you need $25,000 and answer a couple questionnaires on their website. So Brad, how much do you get paid? Well, I look at the Fidelity way of calculating things. They take how many shares they're loaning, market price, gives them a current value, annualized rate. Then they do it daily, and then they give you a hypothetical. What does this mean for Brad and his shares that he has out? Currently, my one loan is only paying me $4.48. They're not even hardly buying me a cup of coffee at Starbucks. But my XDTE loan that's out, $28 a day. That's pretty good for me loaning my shares out. And as it goes for, I'm scared that I'm going to lose my shares. That's an interesting conversation to have. Where's XDTE writing their calls at? CBOE? CBOE is only $6 trillion. Fidelity is $14 trillion. I'm a little more worried about the CBOE than Fidelity. Could Fidelity screw you over? Sure. Anything's possible. Would it devastate them to do so? Yeah. Yes, it would, because a lot of people would think that they're unreliable if they did. So I don't see that being a big deal. This isn't Robin Hood. I mean, Christ, Robinhood shuts down the exchange in the middle of the day during trading hours. So, well, we'll just call that what it is. But Fidelity's large enough with $14 trillion assets under management that they're probably not going to go bankrupt anytime soon. Giving that as a comparison to the U.S. debt, the U.S. debt's currently only $35 trillion, but Fidelity's $14 trillion. Makes you wonder. They're a big dog. Probably not going to screw over the little guy, because that would just make them unreliable. They would lose a lot of their 401k customers, and it's probably just not going to happen. Now, some of the pros and cons. I was in the program. I got out of the program. I originally was in the program, but I was not allowed to sell options. Now you can sell options being in the program. Number two, you had a little more difficulty selling shares. Now you can sell shares, but instead of being T plus 1, it's going to be T plus 2. I know that's a technical term. Just say that you won't get your cash for 2 days compared to 1 day. So they're going to take an extra day to settle the cash from the sale because they're going to have to get the collateralized shares back, sell them on your behalf to settle that trade. Overall, I think this is an okay program for those that have a little more risk tolerance. One thing that I'll throw out about JEPI and JEPQ, and this is just me, reason I run from them, trading these ELNs. Well, who owns those ELNs? At one time, they published this information. Remember some bank called Credit Suisse and they were having all kinds of financial issues? Well, guess who was holding your ELN? And guess what? If Credit Suisse would have went under holding those ELNs, SIPC doesn't count. Sorry, you lose money. CBOE goes under, Round Hill not on the catch. That's that third-party risk that they talk about. So let's think about all the different risk that is out there that people don't understand that they're at risk. You're selling cover calls. There's a risk in selling cover calls. There's a risk of the exchange that they're making the synthetics on. There's a risk. I mean, has an exchange anytime recently gone down that the SEC was actually talking to regularly? I can think of one. Just throwing out that don't think that this is risk-free and this money just magically comes in. There's a lot more risk out there. And by the way, JEPI and JEPQ no longer tell you who holds those ELNs. I don't know. I hope they're not a bank that's going to go out of business because they decided not to tell you anymore. So that is why JEPQ and JEPI are not on my list anymore to hold. They're putting you at risk and you don't even know it. I prefer CBOE. I know the exchange. There's $6 trillion on a daily basis for the US market. So you just sit back and go, some bank holding an ELN? Don't know who it is. They don't tell you anymore. They decided to take that off since somebody pointed it out. It was Credit Suisse at times. Could be another bank that fails. Guess what? You're holding the bag. I just want to make sure that you understand the risk out there in this marketplace, because I don't think everybody understands the risk. Now, don't go running and put your money under the mattress. Nothing's going to fail anytime soon. I think Fidelity would be one of those too big to fail. Guess what? You're going to have to pay to bail them out anyway. So why don't you take advantage of the loan program? $28 a day, that's not chump change, especially for the amount that they have on loan. And I'll tell you, if they ever did take a loan on all my shares, that's $3,700 a month just in loans. And I get the distributions. And it's in a tax deferred account. So I'll just take the money and run. So anyway, that's mine. Everybody has their own risk tolerance. I'll just give you my opinion. Please do your own due diligence and look into it. I just want to make sure that you're aware that there's these programs out there and that there is risk in everything that we do out there with these ETFs. So just don't think that you're risk-free and I just want to hold my shares, because you might not be as risk-free as you might think. Until next time, God bless.